The last few months now, we've actually seen more drug overdoses in the state of Arizona than we did at our peak in 2017. And so we're definitely seeing that there's an increase. And I think the increase is obviously due to the fact that this pandemic has resulted in social distancing, which I think is almost the opposite of what people who are using and misusing substances need. They actually need a support team. They need to reach out. They need to be able to talk to somebody, especially if they're on the verge of something like a relapse. This increase really is nationwide. So I think 35 to 40 states across the US have seen similar numbers that the state of Arizona has seen, in which there's anywhere from 5 to 18% increase in drug overdoses.
This is significant because so much of our lifestyle has changed, behaviors have changed. Are you suggesting that we may have had people who were on certain opiates before, but maybe there's a new group of people who are using them now?
Yes, the best that we can predict at this point until we get more data is that more people are actually using substances. Uh, and again, there's also sort of an increase in relapse. So actually, what we're seeing is both situations in which isolation has allowed some people who have been getting treatment to undergo relapse and going back to using substances. But we're also seeing an increase in new users, and the fact that this is almost something that you can sort of see as a parallel what's happening with things like alcohol sales, where they are suggested that online sales have increased over 500%. And so there's no doubt that when people are feeling anxiety or depression or even economic burdens, that people will turn to things that are substances that allow them to sort of relax or escape from it. And unfortunately, again, we're seeing relapse as well as new users.
What does your research tell you about what you could foresee as the pandemic continues?
Well, our research unfortunately shows that it will continue. Uh, Again, I think the social isolation is one of the biggest problems that we see with individuals who are getting treatments. But also, there has been a significant decrease in people really wanting to get treatments or even being taken to emergency rooms or to treatment centers because of the fear of COVID 19.
It's doing pretty well.
I noted that you said that this is occurring all across the country, but anything unique about Arizona's position to Mexico or its proximity to Mexico?
Well, there's no doubt that we're seeing a lot of the increase in deaths, including in the state of Arizona, due to fentanyl. And this is fentanyl that is coming across the board. This is not fentanyl being prescribed, of course. And so it's being used across the state. And of course, it's a large amount of it of continually coming across the border.
Anything at this point that you think could help reverse this trend? I mean, now that the issue is being brought to light.
We need to really get treatment for these individuals. We need to make sure that it's safe. The great thing is that the federal government, under the guidelines of what we call SAMHSA, which is sort of the services for things like opiate treatment that they overlook, they have allowed now the people with substance use disorder to actually do telemedicine. In the past, you had to have a physical done with a physician, so you had to be in contact with a physician before you could
You can
start
do
an
something
opiate
extra
treatment
that you lower
plan.
your heart
So
rate.
that would be the first thing. Our long-term goals are really to sort of bring research to the front of this problem with substance use disorder. And so we are actively searching out new therapies and medications that can help people with chronic pain but don't result in addiction, as well as even trying to figure out why people make decisions to use drugs. And so a lot of the research that's ongoing now is trying to figure out, can we have people make maybe sort of better decisions? Because really it comes down to sort of decision making at some point. And again, a lot of us are inflicted by this when there's a lot of despair. They make a decision that they think, well, this I can have a little bit of this, but this often leads to sort of substance use disorders. So those are some of the things that we're doing here in the center.